All right, so I guess I have to go live now to record this. Need to get myself a video recording program. But I've decided to do this because I haven't been able to sleep the last few nights. I do practice tarot occasionally. I've really gotten into this Lori Daybell or Lori Vallow case and the murder. It just accumulated a lot of subjects that I was interested, including propaganda, calling her a cult mom, and there's no real cult to be identified in the case. But also cults themselves, narcissism and sociopathology, and also allowed me to talk about media's effect on politics and sociopathology and the leaders around the world and why we tend to elect, or why psychopaths and sociopaths tend to become heads of states and leaders, and how we need to identify them to remove them from power. But in any case, this video itself is about, let me see, I think you can probably hear me. And really what I want to do is I want to test this microphone. And part of this is going to be to make sure that I can do this. It doesn't look like, looks like my picture's a little fuzzy. But anyway, so I guess I was drawn to this tarot deck for today. What I want to do here is try to ask specific questions. When I got in the case, then I suddenly discovered, oh, people are doing tarot readings on these cases. And tarot readings are kind of hard to do for yourself because obviously every day is a lot like the other. And you have a few questions to ask, but I mean, really, how much can you ask after you've already got the answers? But there's also a need to practice spiritual connection with spirit, spiritual communication, and divination, and also using tarot cards, learning tarot cards, and utilizing them in readings. So this fills a lot of purposes for me. But for you, the main reason is that I'm going to be specific because this is really a test. I mean, I want to know whether I'm right or wrong. I don't want to just throw out a bunch of things, speak real fast, go on for an hour, giving you a bunch of information, and then acting as if you were actually making some specific prediction. Or others might ask general questions. But the main thing is to try and test this. So by recording this and doing this, I'm going to be testing whether these cards work or not. And I'm going to be developing my own spiritual abilities at the same time. This is also something I want to test for myself, but I also want to provide an audience with a confirmation and verification. I mean, for some people, okay, we're going to believe whatever somebody tells us. But when you're real, I want people to be critical. I'm critical, and I think it's very important to use critical thinking. So if this stuff is real, if it works, it's going to have to prove itself. And so since I'm not afraid to do that, in part because I'm not afraid to be wrong, I will go ahead and do this. Now, I've already meditated my practice, and then I've also said a prayer. So I've done that already. I tend to do a 3-card past, present, future spread. So that's what I'll do. And I'll ask a series of questions and do some spreads and see what answers I get. I'm going to look at the cards themselves, the pictures at the themselves to try and get answers. But I got a little cheat thing, is the little, let's see if you can read it, the little book that comes with it, because I've never used this deck before. This was a deck a friend brought for me. And so sometimes I like to cheat because I don't have the cards memorized. But also I want to use my intuition, look at the pictures, see what type of information that gives us first. And then if we don't seem to get the information, or I want to dive deeper, I might return to this. And some people say, oh, no, you want to go by intuition all the way, or you need to have these cards memorized and personalized. Well, yeah, that's a process. And don't look to that, don't look at that. Well, my feeling is Spirit knows. Spirit knows what you're going to use. So if you're going to look at this, Spirit knows you're going to look at this. They're going to communicate with you in that way. So that's my little philosophy there. But what I want to do now is take out this deck, and it looks like it has been shuffled before. I just want to make sure it doesn't have any. Okay. So I haven't been getting some sleep the last couple days. So I'm concerned that could be because somebody really wants me to do a reading. And then also, when I was doing this, thinking about it as I was trying to get to sleep right now, turns out I got a vision of sort of cards, and I was going to use my medieval card. I thought, no, they want me to use the Rider Tarot, but then I don't know where my Rider White deck is, but this one came up. So, so we're going to try and get specific, and these are information that hopefully can be either confirmed or disconfirmed by the results of the investigation. Now, one of the things is that I find about tarot is sometimes people use it to tend to, their opinions get in the reading. So the person says, oh, the kids, for instance, Tylee and JJ are alive. Well, that's what they want to believe. So that's what they find in the cards. If they think they died in this certain way, maybe they'll find that in the cards. My sort of theory about Alex Cox's death is that he intended to kill his new wife for an insurance policy. I forget what her name was, but he ended up killing himself instead. So it's possible that he intended to poison his new wife for the money, but because he's an amateur, he ended up killing himself and poisoning himself. It's possible, but we'll see if that comes out in the reading or what actually comes out in the reading. Hope is that the pictures themselves will be pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes I watch a reading and the person's speaking real fast, rambling real fast, and then all of a sudden, that's not what that card means to me. So we got to think about our questions. If we want to be specific, I'm a lawyer, we want to think about our questions. And how did Alex Cox die? Now, that's not a very specific question. I guess it is in the sense that it could reveal whether he was poisoned or died by poison or whether, okay. So it's just no other questions coming to my mind right now. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do my 3-card spread. And I just, I figure my idea is that Spirit has the card set, kind of like quantum mechanics. Whatever comes up could be any card randomly until it's observed. Probably not something a scientist would say in the material world, but in the quantum world, that would be the case. So first card is past, right? Second card is present. Very interesting. And the third card is future, but in this case, it might actually, oh, wow. It might be the future, or it might be because the question is a past question. It's not really a future question. So if the question is a past question, then we're asking what happened in the past. So we're not really asking what happened in the future. But this may be what's revealed in the future, or what we're going to find out. So it's kind of hard. Now, I want to take a look at the first card. This is the 3 of Pentacles. And I want to show it to you here so that you can see it. Okay. So it looks like there's the 3 Pentacles. A man has some sort of mallet. He's crafting something, doing some type of crafting of something. And, this card makes me think of Chad Daybell. For some reason, this card makes me think of Chad Daybell because Chad Daybell was a person who was trying to do this writing. And so maybe that brings it up, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in Alex's past, but I wonder what it's telling us. Now, if we were to say this was Alex, which for some reason my mind went to Chad with this. Yeah, this type of mallet almost looks like a bell or something. He's got a feather in his cap. He's got a feather in his cap. So if we were to look at this as Alice, because after all, that's what the question is about. If it's Chad, then it may be indicating Chad's involvement. But with the feather in the cap, that's sort of like, that's probably how he viewed murder. There's a feather in his cap. Like a guy who used to put marks on his gun. So he's already, and it's a feather in his cap, but and these are all feathers. If you can see, they're all feathers, right? So he's trying to make another feather, right? So that could be, an answer. He's already killed Charles Vallow, and that was a complete disaster because they didn't get any money out of it. That was something that I think set Lori off. She had a plan to make some money. That was her big plan. She locked him out of the thing, and she acted as quickly as she could, but she was too late. And he had outsmarted her. The only thing he could have done more to outsmart her was to not go into that house. So that may be that card. Now, this is an interesting card. This is the Moon card. So this is the present card. Let you actually take a look at that card there. All right. So this is one of the major arcana. And it can indicate deception. And that seems to be what it's indicating here. It also kind of, to me, the moon kind of indicates our dark side, our darkness, the side that comes out at night. So given that this is a question of the past, that nothing about Alex Cox is present right now, it may explain him. So I guess these cards can, even though they say past, present, future, those will read that too, but this may be actually his state of mind, or this is what it's about. His darkness, his secrets, and sometimes there's there can be creativity and stuff that comes out of this card as well, but it's a darker card than the Sun card. All right, so I do try to read reversals because I want to get the most detailed information I can. If there's so many cards in the deck and you read reversal, that doubles the meanings of the cards. So the card we got reversed here is Justice. So I want to give you, I don't show it in its upright position because usually they say that a card is the opposite of what it means if it's reversed. So we need to look at it. Looking at it upside down doesn't really tell us anything. So here you go. Let's see. There's justice. Okay. So this is all talking about. And what I'm getting in the reverse, then you can see this woman is definitely a blonde. She's carrying the sword and the scales. But in the reverse, what I think it really means, that there probably was foul play. If there's an injustice and someone acted unjustly. Now, obviously, this whole case is injustice, and Alex Cox was a criminal. I mean, I can't really say for sure, but all intents and purposes, that's what it looks like right now. And with a reversed justice card, that sort of indicates the same thing. It could indicate the criminal intent, which again is what I've considered, is that he wanted to kill his wife, his new wife, but it also can be injustice rendered against him in the form of somebody murdering him. So I'll remember what his wife's name is pretty soon. So let's ask about the wife. We'll do a 3-card spread, and we'll ask whether he was trying to kill his wife. We'll see if we get that question. Was he going to kill his wife? The other question is, was she somehow involved in his death? There's no arrest, and there's no indication of that the police are considering that. So the question would be: was he trying to kill his wife? And the other alternative is that somebody else had killed him, and it wasn't his mistake that of ingesting his own poison. It was somebody else doing him in. And of course, there's always the option that he died of natural causes, that he didn't have. So let's see and ask, was he planning or trying to kill his new wife, or planning on it? Because, you're planning on it, you might, practice a few things. And problem is, and you practice something and you get it wrong, it could have severe consequences, especially when you're dealing with harmful or caustic agents. I think he had an image of himself as a hitman. I remember his brother talking to him and saying how much talent he had, and he had a lot of talent. And his brother was acting, and I could see it because I've done that stuff before. Look, you got all this talent, man. You got to utilize this talent. He's got his brother there. He's a DJ. He can connect him up. He can go out, do comedy shows. But the sociopath doesn't have the motivation to do that. So it looks like we got 2 reversals in this reading. So the first card is reversed, and I'm going to show it to you upright. It's the Strength card. So sometimes the first card really gets the backbone of the issue. What's really underlying this? What came before this? What is the root cause, right? Where does this come from? And here it comes from weakness. Well, does that give us specific information? What's the weakness? We'll have to ask another question about that. But it's probably pretty much his it's hard to really say what type of weakness this is, but it's a lack of strength, lack of that type of quality. Now, the the middle card, the one in the present position or in the position that seems to be telling us, what's actually going on, at the sort of in the center of the story, so to speak, is the 10 of Pentacles. And this 10 of Pentacles looks like people having money, so this is really the type of, could indicate the motivation that he had. I think this case is all about money. I don't think she's a cult mom, except for the fact that she is a narcissist who leads a family. The family can be a lot like a cult. But just because people have strange beliefs or opinions or call themselves religious titles does not make them dangerous cult members. So cult's really about a narcissist or a sociopath controlling people. The ideas are just tools for the narcissist. It's about a controlling and organization to control the bodies and minds of the cult members. So this is really a crime being committed, not something about whether a person believes something strange or not. A person is being deceived, tricked, and forced, coerced into remaining in the cult and continuing in the cult, and with thought control and mind control being involved. So this may be, but it also, in looking at this, I see that there he is with a boy. There's a woman outside. This may be that that's the life he really wanted for himself. But he needed the money. That's very clear from this. Now, the reverse card in the third position is the Knight of Pentacles. So while he wanted this, well, let me show you it upright so that you can see it. Okay. So here's the Knight of Pentacles upright. So in the reverse, to me, what the Knight of Pentacles might represent in this context is an up and coming successful person, a young person, and Alex was a young person, who, and not that young though, he was still firmly an adult, a young adult, who's on their way. But in the reverse, it indicates that he was not this. He was not a guy who was going to be a Knight of Pentacles, be an up and coming, rising provider. So did we get an answer to the question here? I don't know. So we'll try and go on to another question. I'll go along with this for a little while, and then and see what we can come up with, because this is basically for confirmation for myself, and I really enjoy if you would try and go along with this for me if it turns out to be anything. So far, it looks like there's probably foul play involved. So that is something we can confirm. If there's foul play, if we got that, because either his death is going to be a natural death or it's some type of murder. And if it's a murder, we're going to likely find out. So, but if we don't, there might be an injustice, right? So, but then again, you know, let's ask that question, because I don't think we've asked it. Was Alex murdered? Was Alex murdered? And then after that, we'll ask who. If it's a positive question, answer. Then we'll ask who did it. Okay. So let's go here. All right. So the first card is a reverse card. It's interesting. It's the Death card. So these are major arcana cards. Right? I got it upside down. Let me show you it face up, right side up, so you can actually see it clearly. All right. Looks like there's a flower on a flag. There's the sword, the red. Okay. So in this position, this card reversed. And we're asking whether he was murdered. Well, there could be that. That's why it's a curious card for me. I don't, but it could be that in the reverse, the card in the reverse would indicate a murder, whereas maybe an upright would just indicate a plain death. Okay. And we may be able, maybe making answers to both those questions, because we've got the Empress reversed. Okay. So that would indicate to me Laurie's involvement, because while the Empress, this is often can be a spiritual card, I think, but the Empress is the leader, right? Laurie is the leader of her little family cult. She's the one who's bringing everybody to Rexburg. She's the one who's controlling everybody and telling them what to do and what to say. She's the one at the center of all of this. So some idea that Chad's beliefs and his unsuccessful books are somehow what Laurie has sort of transformed Laurie into a psychopath. That's not really true. So this could indicate that she turned on him. How's that? And Page of Pentacles reversed. Here we go. Page of Pentacles. There's a girl with a pentacle in her hands. So this is a really younger person, younger than the knight. So, but probably old enough to be, of service. But it's reversed. I just got an indication, a feeling that I should check the book. Oh, you tarot people. This is a terrible thing of me to do, is to actually check the little book. Oh no. Do everything outside. Don't look at the book. Anyway, let's try and see. Cups, Pentacles must be the last one. Okay. So, the Cups. So, Pentacles, okay. So bad news, delinquency, illogical thoughts, wastefulness. That makes sense. That makes sense. Alex Cox was bad news. He was a delinquent, probably been so for a long time. But Brandon Boudreaux, Melanie Boudreaux or Melanie Pulowski's ex-husband, said that, what was it? That Alex was the family hitman. Why do you get a reputation as the family hitman unless you are the family hitman? And then if you are, well, by this time he's probably divorced when he says this. He's already been shot at, and he believes that his wife was involved. I mean, this is what I believe happened for Lori, at least. She was trying to make a big score, trying to hit the $1 million jackpot, have her brother kill her husband. Worst case scenario, he takes the fall, she gets the money. When it doesn't work out, he's now the weakest link. A lot of wasted time with Alex Cox. Didn't have the motivation to take advantage of his talents. Sociopaths may be talented, but they don't have the impulse control or the desire to actually utilize their talents for the betterment of it. Because when you utilize your talents, you're actually contributing something good to the world, something that sociopaths could care less about. So that does help us. Good sense. Now, let's go ahead and ask that question again, just to get confirmation again. Who, not the same, we asked another question. We may have got the answer in this one. Who killed Alex Cox? Okay. Okay. Man, we're getting some interesting cards here. And I think everything on this one is in reverse. So in the first position, we get the Ace of Wands. Show you what it looks like. You get a chance to look at it. And it's pretty, it's cute. It's got some sunflower. It looks like flowers there. And I've seen these crystal wands and stuff made. They're very nice and charge you a lot of money for it. And it's got this power in it that's and flame. It seems like flames are coming up and it's shooting these rays out of it. Okay. Now this could indicate somebody who actually has some abilities. It has some power. But in the reverse, it could indicate powerlessness. I'm gonna go back to the thing here and see what I find about this wand. Here we go. See what's in here. There, Ace of Wand. False start, unrealized goal, decadence, stagnation, sterility. Cox didn't have any children. Good background information. Let's just try and read it together. Now, this is a more power. I'm getting all the major arcana cards in this reading. The Wheel of Fortune reverse. So let me show it to you. I mean, you got to take a look at that. That has a lot of pictures. So we notice in this picture that the Wheel of Fortune has a positive half. There's 3 that are positive, 2 that are kind of neutral, and 3 that are negative. We got it in the reverse. So I will assume that bad luck, huh? Bad luck. Huh. Could also mean fate, that this was his, but it sort of indicates an accident, right? Wheel of Fortune in reverse sort of indicates an accident. An accident would be messing with poisons in an attempt to kill his wife and then killing himself. And then the last card would make a lot more sense in this thing. Of course, again, it comes out to my idea. We'll see if my idea is right. But this one is the Hermit card. The Hermit card reversed. The Hermit card reversed. Okay. So the Hermit card could be solitude, seeing things clearly, insightfulness. He has a light, but he's in the darkness, but he's still able to see. It's like dealing with the darkness, but shining light on the darkness. Now, in the reverse, could mean dark, could mean that, but also Hermit means alone, right? Doesn't mean somebody else killed the guy, you know? So the Empress card back here in reverse, well, yeah, maybe Lori's sort of, because Lori is really no Empress, but she thinks she is. So the non-Empress Empress, okay, thinks that gets him involved in this, tells him to do this, right? Tells him to do this. And lo and behold, it kills him. Follows her instructions foolishly. You know, when you play with fire, you get burned, right? If you play with somebody who's a murderess and you trust them, you should know better. So, here's the information I'm getting, and here it is. It just confirms. So, we got some specific information. Okay. It looks like there's foul play involved, but it doesn't look like it was a hands-on, I need to be there to shoot you in the chest type of murder. This is probably top secret stuff, right? Lori killed her husband for the money and it failed miserably. And now she's off. That's it. She's full-blown psychopath. Okay. So who gets the money? But the grandparents of JJ. So she's got some people to get back at, some vindictiveness to exercise, and she's also got some loose ends. She made an attempt to kill her husband. She's got probably Ty Lee as a witness. JJ probably might eventually be a witness. We don't know if he was in there when it happened, but he might be a witness. But it seemed like she may have thought he wasn't. But Ty Lee was. Obviously, Alex was the trigger man. So if Alex goes down, the possibility he's going to bring Lori with her is pretty high. There's the money has totally failed. Now she needs to get other people to kill their spouses to make some money. So she recruits her brother to do the same because, hey, it didn't work with me. We messed up. We got to do it right this time. And she hooks up with Chad Daybell, convinces him to kill his wife. The difference is that Chad succeeds, whereas Alex fails. So Alex follows these instructions, perhaps the same instructions that were provided to Chad. Chad carries out the instructions properly. Alex does not and ends up killing himself in the process. That's my theory I came in with. That's my theory I'm going out with. That's what the cards seem to be telling me that I've read. We'll see if it's true. Thank you for watching. This is Rich Procida. I'll do more videos like this in the future, but I'd also like you to check out my podcast, Bible Study for Progressives. And also, I write for laprogressive.com. And I have a blog at modernlectionaries.blogspot.com. Lectionaries is spelled just like it sounds, Lectionaries. Until next time, let's find out what happens. I'll try and do another tarot reading with different questions, and I'll come up with that intuitively. Thank you for watching, the one person who is watching, and hopefully more people will see it and like it and share it. And I hope you did enjoy it. Thank you, and bye now.